I did not have a dream to work in comedy 2 years ago. I've never been the funny friend. I literally asked my mom the other day, did you guys think I was funny growing up? And she was like, no. I put in so much work for musical theater. It was all I wanted. I literally had a box of wigs in my closet as a kid because I was filming skits. I had been invited to go watch a taping of SNL that year. I was like, this is fun. I wish I could do this. So I got on Zoom and I was like, yeah, I can do an Obama impression. I was like, well, Michelle and I. And then I just felt like the Lord told me, go work in vocational ministry. The Lord was like, you could kind of get back into acting for fun. Okay, that wasn't a fluke. I love this. Sort of at this point in my life where I was like, no, all I want is to be faithful to God. And honestly, that's it. I've just seen how much purpose and joy that gives me. I'm safest with him and I'm getting his best if I'm following him. I never wanted to trump what he made all of us for, which is just to know him. And if you step out obediently, it's rich.
Why is it so much richer than anything else you've experienced in life? I heard you have hoop knowledge.
I love basketball.
Yeah.
I love basketball. Ohio State didn't make it to the tournament, did y'all? I'm so sorry.
You don't have to remind me, but yeah.
We have a moment of silence.
We suck. I'm a huge Ohio State fan. Both my parents went there. We won the Natty in football this year. I'm on top of the world. But man, our basketball program has been through it. So much so that I'm a hockey fan now.
Really? Are you? Wait, I heard this on the podcast.
I actually am a hockey fan, but yeah.
You're still looking for a hockey team, though.
I am, yeah. Right. I'm in between the Nashville Predators and the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Have you considered
But I'm an Ohio State
the
hockey
Stars?
fan. We're in the Big Ten Championship. The Stars, Dallas Stars.
The Dallas Stars.
They're doing really well this year.
I know.
So they have a lot going for them. But I'm kind of looking down, down the road.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your future thinking.
Right.
Right. That's really important for you to do with this decision.
I'm weighing all the options. I've done a lot of research. I'm looking into the lore of the teams and everything.
All their heights.
All their
hype vibes, though.
All the hype vibes, yeah. Austin Matthews, bro, that dude cooks.
He seems 6'3", and that's what matters.
Exactly.
Right.
That's all that matters.
Now you're picking up on it. You're tracking.
We're there.
Awesome.
Ohio State is tough in basketball, but I'm just trudging through it, Oklahoma?
Yeah, I'm a big Oklahoma fan.
Really? Mm-hmm. Is that where your parents went, or?
My grandpa played for OU.
Okay.
And so I just grew up he loved them, so we all kind of loved them. But now a lot of my family. Kind of a
legacy thing, huh?
Yeah, totally.
What? Duncan, you're not in this podcast, actually.
Actually, I was told I was going to be interviewing Duncan during this podcast. That's literally what I was prepared for.
I'm the Jamie of the Creative Create podcast.
The Jamie?
Yeah, Joe Rogan.
Oh, yeah, you're in the back.
That's me.
With the laptop and stuff?
Yeah. We'll just put it right there.
He did just say he didn't need a snack and then immediately
went for the chocolate milk. Yeah.
Right.
He chugged that.
It's really heavy.
What kind of...
I had a whole chicken bake.
I got him a Costco chicken bake before this. Duncan's been at gym. He's been helping me with lights and stuff and setting up cameras. Out of nowhere, might I add. He just kind of
It's because he heard I was coming. He was like, oh yeah.
I'm going to set this up.
Yeah, Duncan wants your number, actually, after this. Alli Wulfert, everybody. Welcome to the show. That one, all of them.
It's so hard to know.
We have 8 cameras. No, welcome to the show. I'm excited for you to be on. Our friend Brendan told me that you should hop on. He came up to me at a party. He was like, you should have Alli Wulfert on your podcast.
That's so nice.
It was very nice of him. And credit where credit's due. You're funny. You're super talented. You're nice. You know how to really engage with people.
Thank you.
And I think that's something I've seen across socials and interacting with you in person. I think we met way back when Carly came out, or Carly was here and you came out to visit.
Yes.
Right?
I remember this so distinctly. Mm-hmm. We were literally in that pool down there.
Yeah.
Do you remember this?
The guy.
Yes, the guy.
Of course Duncan.
Oh my gosh.
Of course Duncan remembers this.
It was the best day of Duncan's life. No, that guy. We were having Chick-fil-A down by the pool. I remember this day so vividly. It was my first day meeting both of y'all, I think.
Yep.
But that guy was invited us to live on his boat. Do you remember this?
So creepy.
I'm not gonna say his name, but yeah, I remember.
You know who it is?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought have you guys like seen him since then?
Yeah. I mean, not recently, but yeah, we've seen him here and there. He'll come in the hot tub.
I forgot about him, but I remember y'all, but I forgot about him. And honestly, this is actually very sincere to y'all. I remember like my friend was with me just visiting, and we got like in the car or something after we met you guys, because I was like planning on moving to LA but didn't know when yet.
Yeah.
And I was very hesitant. Like, you hear horror stories about LA, and I lived in Dallas, and there was just great community out there. And we got in the car after we met you guys, and I was like, okay, if this is like what some people are like in LA, I'll be okay. And that was like, it honestly did mean a lot to me. So
It means so much.
It gave
Yeah.
me a lot more confidence.
That's so sick. Praise God. I think that's just really cool to hear, because I think we all kind of have that as a mission, to kind of be the change in LA rather than just leaving it. Like every time I travel, go back home, like I'm always hearing, oh, LA this, LA that, all negative things, talking about the toxicity of the city. And every time I hear it, I just am more and more convicted to be a part of the change. Maybe not forever, but just while I'm here, like I'd rather be a part of a change somewhere than just to be somewhere comfortable that's already quote unquote better.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So
That's
for you to
awesome.
say that, that's really cool. It's a really cool testimony.
Yeah, well, you're doing it very effectively, so it's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you
because I'm
so
like,
much.
if that's my experience, like one time hanging with you guys at the pool, then I'm sure it's so many people's, which is, I guess, like testament to why like everything you guys do like grows to be such a big group, because people are craving that here.
They really are.
Yeah.
And it's really cool to just be a part of and get to someone walk in.
Yeah.
Someone's always
Sorry.
walking in the apartment.
That's my ADHD. I'm like,
No, it's just always really cool to like be a part of events and meet new people and hear their stories and really get to see the genuine connection that happens.
yeah,
So yeah, that's so sick.
that's so cool.
But you're a part of it too. Just know that.
Praise
you're very
God.
good at engaging with people, and I think you guys love on people so well, and you really bring the level of everything, the level of people up. I think you guys really do a good job of pushing each other in what you feel like you're called to do, and even your walks with God too, getting deep into the faith already. But yeah.
No, thank you. That's like honestly a huge answered prayer. Like being out here, I literally have a note on my phone that said like the week before I moved to LA, I just like, this is so like depressing, but I wrote a list of all the things I was sad about leaving in Dallas. And like the number one thing was I was like, oh, I bet I'm never going to have a community like this again. And then one of my friends had prayed for me before I moved, and she was just like, I pray you'll bring even better friends. And literally in my head, I was like, yeah, okay. Like, I was
You're
so
like, "Keep
like
wishing,
negative.
Betty."
Yeah, I was literally like, thanks for the prayer. Like, I'm sure that one's not gonna happen. And it's just so sweet to see like God has people everywhere. And so,
Right.
yeah, there's some amazing people here.
So sweet. So sweet. Well, I'm glad you're on. We have a really cool mutual friend. His name's
Yes.
Fraser Groot.
I love him.
He's
I need
amazing.
to listen to his episode on here.
You should. Yeah,
Yeah,
I had him
I
on
should.
last season, and it was an epic conversation. He does the 10,000 dreams. He goes around, asks everybody, what's your dream?
What's your dream, man?
And I was watching yours because you were on it as well. We were both on it. And you said some really interesting things, but you mentioned you having your dream, which is a lot of different things that we'll get into in a little bit. But you having your dream and you've seen yourself like accomplish things you never thought you would, but you also find yourself in things that aren't even related to your dream. And you also mentioned just pursuing like a rich and full life. And you mentioned a Bible verse, I think John 10.
Yeah.
What does a full life look like to you?
I feel like it's like a longer answer, and like I'm not trying to like Jesus juke you with my answer.
Jesus juke.
I'm literally just like, no, I'm like a full life. Like this is like a whole long part of my story, but like I had a really like a 5-year period of my life that I just thought like I wasn't going to be pursuing like entertainment. I wasn't acting at all. Like I wasn't doing anything that I had like dreamt of and loved doing my entire life.
Yeah.
And during that 5 years, like someone actually like asked me, like, I remember like 3 years in, like, what's your dream? Like, what's your dream in life? And I remember having such a vivid moment that I was like, oh, I was always such a dreamer growing up. And I realized like my only dream, like sincerely, I was like, my only dream right now is just to be faithful to God. And like every part of my like thought process would be that that's just like, that I'm like a little purposeless or anything, you know, like I always took a lot of pride in like having big dreams, and I was sort of at this point in my life where I was like, no, all I want is to be faithful to God, and honestly, like that's it. Like genuinely, like everything else in life is so second tier to that, and like just having a relationship with Jesus, like that's why I'm so passionate about it, because I've just seen like how much purpose and like joy that gives me. And I genuinely think that's the fullness of life, like walking in relationship with him, and then through that, he shows you what to do. And if you step out obediently, like it's not easy, but it's rich.
Why is it so much richer than like anything else you've experienced in life? Like you speak with a lot of passion about it, so. Like,
Jesus is literally just my best friend. Like he's like, I love him. Like I'm just like, he's the best.
Besties
like,
for the resties,
no,
baby.
literally, like it's just so crazy that there's someone like who created the entire world and like cares about me and like is so careful with us and so intentional, but also he's the only, like nobody else knows everything. Not that I'm like hiding stuff, but like God just knows like the thoughts of my heart and the passions of my heart, and like I've just felt him very presently my entire life, and like it's just so crazy that we get to do life with him. And it's such a satisfying relationship. Like anything else that I look for satisfaction in, if I'm not with him in it, like it always kind of falls short. And it's like we were joking about earlier, the anticipation being better than the actual thing. But I think you see so many people find like wild success or money or fame or even like the relationship or whatever it is that you want, and then you just want more. And like Jesus is the place, like it's literally scriptural, I don't know where it is, but like the well that never runs dry. I'm like, oh my gosh, I found this thing that satisfies my heart so much, and I know anything else is just, it's really gonna pale in comparison. But he also makes me enjoy all those other things more too with him, you know.
You said it makes you enjoy everything else. How does that work?
I just think like there's such a beauty in knowing something, like knowing something's proper place. Like I found my identity and my joy and my passion and my purpose in following Jesus. And then anything else he gives me, like if my entire life is rooted in becoming an actor, and like my entire identity is in like, oh, I'm an actor, I'm a comedian or whatever, I'm going to be so let down. Like every audition I go to, I'm going to be petrified in fear, which I already like kind of am sometimes. But like everything is just so disappointing and it ends like, but then if I have it in its right place, like I know who I am. And on top of that, I also like do acting, or I am an actor, but that's not like my primary identity. There's so much freedom and enjoyment. And then it gives me, and that's true of relationships too. Like I'm not looking to my friendships to satisfy every single one of my needs. Like Jesus does that. And then there's so much richness in like having everything else in its proper place. I think that's how we were created. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, that's how I feel.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. It makes a little sense. It makes a little
sense. Duncan, did you get that?
I need you to expand on that a little bit more.
Just put your thumb down if you feel like we need. We'll cut that.
Cut it. No, it makes a lot of sense.
Okay, good.
Okay, side note, luckily for you guys, we don't really edit a whole lot out of this, so I hope you guys get a kick out of all the just little things that happen.
The banter.
For me, it's like so special to host a conversation that is raw, and it's not like it's curated. Obviously, like I put a lot of effort into researching and building, but at the same time, it's just we're here on the couch talking, right? And so I hope you guys get to like experience that as much as we're experiencing it here. But anyway, it makes a lot of sense.
Perfect.
I've experienced it as well, and I think it's just funny. Like you were saying, if you go into anything and your main goal is to be the best at that, or be even any sort of level of success in anything, if your sole identity is tied to that, then you may be like a Mr. Beast and just run after it until you actually get it. But I would argue that, like, from what it seems, from where I'm sitting, like, even Mr. Beast isn't in a place where he's truly finding joy in it and joy in life. Maybe he is. Seems like he's like a robot of sorts at sometimes too. And so to me it's like, it kind of makes sense because for me, okay, like bringing basketball back into the picture. In high school, I wanted to be a starter. I wanted to be a major contributor to my team. And I believe I had the talent. I had maybe not the work ethic to the standard that I should have been, but I believed I had the talent and the ability to do so. But my coach didn't. So even though I worked hard, I didn't get that spot, and I wasn't like given that opportunity. And so to me, I had put a lot of identity in that being the case. And so every time I would like go back and be like, coach, what can I do? What can I do? And then you'd like, do this. And then I'd like try to do it. And then I'd come back and it's like not enough. I'd just get more and more discouraged to the point where it made me not want to play basketball anymore, because I was like, this sucks.
Yeah.
Why would I ever want to enjoy this game? When in reality, I do love basketball. I still love playing basketball, you know, hoop on Thursday nights with the boys, or any chance I can get, you know. It's really fun for me, and I've like been able to find that joy because now my identity isn't wrapped up in, am I going to make the league?
Yeah.
Like, am I going to make the NBA? Maybe not, but that's not my purpose. That's not what I'm called to do. And the more I tie my purpose into what God's actually called me to do, and more importantly, like you were saying, my relationship with him, then it makes everything else in life 10 times more enjoyable. And I would argue the success is more attainable in a way in those things, because you're not completely like clouded by the end result.
Right. Totally. Because it really is like, especially in a culture like LA where we are so like lucky to be around so many people who are so passionate, but like I feel like common like, and I use it all the time, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's like, what's your calling? Like, what's your calling? Like, what's God's will for my life? And like, yeah, I do think like God is incredibly like kind, and like he knows all of us, and he put certain desires in each of our hearts. And so like, of course he has a specific plan and purpose for each of us, but like the Bible's really clear, like God's will for your life is to like seek justice and love mercy and walk humbly with God, or it's to rejoice always and like pray without ceasing. And I always like what is it, the Westminster Catechism, like when it's like the chief end of man is to glorify God and enjoy him forever. Like those are all things that we're like primarily called to. Like God is not most concerned with if I win an Emmy one day, you know, like
right.
if that were to happen, like awesome. But like that's not what he created me for. He created me to be in relationship with him, and then he put me on this earth like in part to like enjoy him, and also to like hopefully share that with others. And then whatever means he chooses to do that, like if we're fully surrendered to him, like it's probably the thing that he knows will bring us most enjoyment in a lot of stages. Like obviously some seasons of life are just hard, but like I just am really passionate about that. Like I feel like we have to be careful I never want to lose like what's my calling or what's my like, what am I made for? Because he's also very individualized with us, but like I never wanted to trump just what he made all of us for, which is just to like know him.
Do you think that dreams are something that's placed by God inside of us, or is it something that we can pick and choose and determine?
Yeah, that's a good question, because I do think like my favorite verse in my life verse is Psalm 37:4, which is like, delight yourself in the Lord and he will give you the desires of your heart. And I always read that as like, oh, if I delight in God, like he will just give me everything that I want.
I'm going to get a PS5 next week.
No, literally.
NBA 2K.
I'll get I don't even know what I wanted. I keep getting restricted by my headphones. I need to stop moving. But
you can pull it out a little bit.
no, it's okay. It's perfect. But like, I think like as I've grown to know him more, like it shows me like the more I'm like with him and delighting in him, he changes the desires of my heart to like look like his and align with his. And I don't think that's perfect. Like I'm not perfect and I'm not perfectly walking with God by any means. And so like I'm like,
None of us are.
but like I so obviously I also think I have desires that are like selfish, but I do think like he's so kind with us and he doesn't expect us to be perfect, and I really do think he puts certain dreams in our hearts. Like I did not have a dream to work in comedy 2 years ago. And
Really?
like he's like blown open these doors that I never even cared to walk through. And so I do think he changes those desires and like puts dreams in our hearts because he knows us so well. I just don't think those are like the number one end goal.
You said you didn't have a dream like 2 years ago to be in comedy, but you mentioned that you were always acting and performing. What was the difference there?
So like growing up, I always did like musical theater, and my dream since I was like 4 years old was to be on Broadway. Like that was the goal. I was like a crazy
You were the drama nerd.
No, literally. Like I couldn't hardly watch Glee because it's like too close to home. Like everyone's like, Rachel's so annoying, and I'm literally like,
I'm Rachel.
I'm like, yeah. But like I literally would like come home like, and all the kids are like playing or whatever, and I'm like at my piano like practicing scale. Like I wanted it so badly, and
You put in your 10,000 hours.
I think I don't know how many years 10,000 hours is.
Duncan.
But I think I did. Like I put in so much work for musical theater. It was like all I wanted, and I love musicals and stuff, but I think like I went to school for musical theater, and then when I was a freshman in college, I really did like genuinely feel I would run. I was big into running, and like we had all these verses in my college. I went to a Christian college. We had all these Bible verses engraved on the path that I would run, and one of them was Psalm 37:4, which is actually crazy because I don't remember any of the other ones, but that was the one like
It just stuck out to you.
Yeah, it just jumped
time.
off the pavement, literally.
Did you run the same route like every single time?
Every day. It was 3-mile route, so it was perfect. Like it was well
easy.
lit. Like yeah, it was just I miss it honestly. I feel like I would still run if I had that route, but whatever. It's like why I'm not a runner anymore.
You're like, it was literally just that track.
It's just not safe for me in LA. I'm
I
like
mean,
super
over in
fit.
Hollywood?
No, I can't. I like actually can't run in my neighborhood.
tough.
That's true. But
Running here has been nice. Running out here, I run to the Venice skate park and back.
yeah, and you do like 2 5Ks a day.
Some days.
Every day.
I've been on the grind recently. It's been tough.
Your voice crack. It's been tough. How long are you gonna do that? Are you okay? Is he okay? Did you hurt your toe?
Yeah, not to get too graphic, but I kind of like ripped a layer of skin off of my toe.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say you ripped your toenail. Ugh.
No, that would be worse.
No, that freaks me
That
out.
would suck. But no, I've been pounding pavement recently and just caught up with me a little bit. So I think
Dang.
I'm going to take a few days off.
Right.
Maybe, which sucks because I'm so close to finishing.
Yeah, 'cause
but I'd
you're in the
rather
zone.
like listen to my body and not just like keep hurting myself.
Yeah. No.
Which sucks because my body feels great. My lungs feel amazing. I could go pound 6 miles right now and I'd probably be good. Like, and it's crazy that I can say that.
Do you like to like cycle? Could you do that while you're hurt?
I could, but it wouldn't.
It wouldn't be the same.
It wouldn't be the same because my challenge for myself was just running. So
Right.
like I could do other things that are like exacerbating, but I don't know if that would count towards the
your challenge.
Right.
It would just keep you in shape while you
Yeah.
like do.
Yeah.
Take your time
No, I'll be
off.
back. I'll be back on it in no time. I just gotta let it heal a little bit. But
Yeah.
anyway, yeah. Pounding
Or-
pavement.
Oh.
3
but
miles.
Anyway, sorry, this is a
Psalm.
very long-winded way to say like my freshman year of college, like studying musical theater, which was already interesting because
Yeah.
like I had some offers to like do theater acting or whatever at like not or whatever, it was acting. Like acting or whatever you call it. But like I had offers to do it at schools that would maybe like on paper seem like a more like I don't know, like a better option or whatever. Like
yeah,
more
formidable.
yeah, or like look better on a resume. And I remember the day before I signed my paper to like which school I was gonna go to, my youth pastor had said like, everyone just take a few minutes minutes and pray and ask God something you haven't asked him
Everyone
about.
just take a...
God, what do you want me to ask you about? And I just remember hearing the Lord be like, oh, you haven't asked me about college. Like, I've been praying, like, for certain schools to accept me, but, like, I hadn't asked him where he wanted me to go. And I really just felt like I heard him tell me to go to this Christian school. And I think it was one of the best decisions, like, that he's ever guided me to make. But during my first year there, I really was like, I'm living my dream. Like, I'm on my way. I'm going to move to New York after college and pursue Broadway. And then I just felt like the Lord, like, as he changed those desires in my heart, like, he told me, like, you can, of course, like, you can do whatever you want. I'm not going to be angry at you, but I think you should, like, go work in vocational ministry, which was the last thing I wanted to do. I was literally like, I do not want to be a youth pastor. Like, I was just not wanting to do
like,
that.
God, can we run that back a little bit?
No,
like,
I'm like, that doesn't even make sense.
Rewind.
Like, I was also like, what am I even going to do? Like, I can't play the guitar. Like, I don't know. In my head,
play the piano, though.
I could play the piano.
There it is.
And I did not use that skill. But I, like, ended up just moving to New Mexico and, like, finishing my degree. I changed my degree to ministry and, like, biblical studies and moved to New Mexico and worked at a church. And then that took me to Dallas, where I worked at a church and went to seminary for a few years. And while I was in Dallas, like, that's when I had, like, first those moments that I was, like, kind of grieving. Like, a big part of my identity and my personality had been in performing, and even, like, certain of my family members, my family's so wonderful and so supportive. My parents were, like, from the beginning, they were just like, if you feel like God's calling you, like, you should go, which is a blessing.
That's so cool.
But, like, there were certain people that were like, you're throwing your talent away, and, like, I was like, yeah, I know. Like,
you're like, stop reminding me.
Right. Like, I'm literally 19 and I was like, well, the good days are over, I guess. We're going to go work at a church. Like, and I was literally like, you hear all the, like, Mars Hill podcasts and stuff. And I was like, this is going to be me next. Like, I'm going to.
You're like, give me 7 years and I'm going to be the talk of the town.
No, literally. And then in my head, I'm like, now I'm going to probably just, like.
I'm going to be the talk of the town.
Never mind. I shouldn't say that. In my head, I was like 19. I was like, I'm probably just gonna have to, like, marry a pastor and, like, have a bunch of kids and, like, and that would be awesome. And I would be so lucky to marry a pastor. And
be a dream.
No,
come true.
Literally. Like, if you know any pastors, tell them to add me on LinkedIn.
Are pastors on LinkedIn?
I don't know. I'm kidding. But
there's an idea. Create a LinkedIn for ministry.
Oh, like a LinkedIn for ministry?
There probably is one.
We would call it, like.
What would you call it?
I don't know. I don't have a name like Damascus Meat or something. Like something random. We'll brainstorm it. I'll schedule another meeting for me to come over here. We'll
I don't think this is for us.
You're like, take me out of this.
I think we should leave this to the tech bros.
Okay, we'll leave this to the tech bros. I don't know why Damascus came to my head.
I don't know why either. I was going to ask, and I was like, this is probably not a good rabbit hole to go down.
No, it was just, anyway. So, I moved to Texas, and I stopped acting. And I had, like, a whole several years where I feel like I was just, like, figuring out who I was without it, and, like, also learning to be okay without it. Like, all of those dreams of, like being also on Broadway, like, all of the things that I probably would have led with, like, top 3 facts about me, like, gone. Like, I was learning who I was, and also, like, learning the Word of God in a way that I feel now, like, very, very grateful to have that foundation and, like, build those relationships. And it was an amazing, like, it was honestly, I have no complaints about that portion of my life, which is, like, so cool to have that as a gift now, because I'm, like, kind of just grinding, trying to make it in this industry. Right. And I know, like, I have the base foundation that I'm, like, not only do I know on, like, a biblical level or, like, a brain level that I would be okay without this, I've lived it. Like, I had some of my best memories working in a field that had nothing to do with the thing I felt like I was created to do. Yeah. But then, now to answer your question, I'm sorry this is such a long answer. Which is why comedy? Yeah. My freshman year of college, the one year that I was in acting school, some of my the like managers that came to watch and stuff, they pulled me aside after my first semester and they were like, we think you might have a knack for comedy. You might try it. And I was literally like, I'm a serious actor. Like, I'm not doing comedy. Like, I'm an ingenue. I think I literally said that. I hate myself. I think I literally was like, I'm an ingenue. And I'm like, that's so annoying. That's gross. I was 18. I'm sorry. It's been a long time. But
now it's comedic though.
no, it's funny because now I'm like rolling my eyes at myself. But I was like not into comedy, like, which is funny because I loved comedy growing up.
Right.
And also like,
You're like, I would never stoop that low.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is also crazy because I literally like had a box of wigs in my closet as a kid because I was like filming skits. Like my friends would come over. Yes. My friends would come over and I'd be like, I have a hilarious idea. Like I would get my Dell laptop with a webcam and I would be like, you wear this costume, I'll wear this one. Or I'd be like, Mom, we need like an oversized gown. Take us to Goodwill. And we made the craziest like sketches. Looking back, I'm like, I was making sketches. I mean, so I don't know why I was like, yeah, comedy is not for me.
Right.
But I did ask my mom the other day.
It's just denial at that point.
It was denial. Like
Yeah.
I thought I was like not above it because I love comedy. I just didn't think I could do it.
Yeah.
Because like this is God's honest truth is I like was not like I've never been the funny friend. Like I literally asked my mom the other day, I was like, did you guys think I was funny growing up? And she was like, no. Like nobody did. Like my mom was like, she was so nice. She was like, you were always really clever. But like I was
But not
funny.
funny.
I didn't even want to be funny. Like I didn't care to be
What
funny.
a supportive mom.
Right. But I like didn't care. Like I didn't want to be funny. I didn't think about that. Honestly, still I'm kind of like, I don't know. But like
No,
then,
you're funny. You're funny.
Thank you.
We've spent 30% of this podcast laughing.
Laughing.
So we're either just slap happy or
We have been setting up for like 8 hours. We're probably so
Right.
tired. Just slap at me.
you've been sitting in your car for 5.
Right. I've been in my
waiting,
car
yeah.
for like 4 days.
Right.
Just pre-gaming. But so then like, anyway, I'm in Dallas and I've like completely, I feel like surrendered. Like I'm genuinely expecting my life to be like very like, I was like, okay, I love the church that I work at. I'm going to stay in Dallas. I'm close to my family. I'm going to keep working at this church. Like, that's it. Like, and I was very happy with that. And like, also very much like regularly would be like, God, you can do whatever you want. But like, this is just the path I thought he brought me on. And he did bring me on that path. And then like it would have been like 2.5 years ago. I really just had this like sense in my spirit that the Lord was like, you could kind of get back into acting like for fun. And so I just started doing like little community theater plays in Dallas or like going back to voice lessons, just like stuff like that. And I was like kind of unlocking that part of me that had been put away for a few years. And then I was like, now I know where this belongs, but like there's no denying like this is like what gives me like life in my bones.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like as much as I genuinely adored and feel like I was walking in purpose with what I was doing before, like there was just something about getting back into acting that was like, okay, that wasn't a fluke. Like I love this, you know,
Yeah.
like this is what really gets me excited. And randomly my therapist was like, you need to try something new, like just for you. And literally, I swear, this was like the Holy Spirit giving me this idea in my head. I was like, I'll go to an improv class, which like is I would never have done that ever. Like I can't express, it's hard to imagine that I wouldn't have, but
Yeah.
like, I swear like that was the last thing on my mind.
Yeah.
And so I like go to this improv class. It was like me and like 2 other guys. I was like not enough people to even like do improv.
What do you mean? You did skits with one friend back in the day.
That's true. That's true. But it was literally me and these 2 other guys and then our teacher. And I remember being like, this is like everything to me. Like I'm having so much fun. It's so lame, but like I'm having so much fun. And like by happenstance, I had just like been invited to go watch a taping of SNL that year. And so I went to watch SNL and then like somehow like watching that while I was in my improv class, like I was like, there's like, this is fun. Like
It just clicked.
I wish I could do this, but like still I wasn't thinking like, oh, I could do that.
Right.
And then that improv teacher, I never ended up taking another class while I was in Dallas because it was just like, it was fun, but like, I don't know, it just didn't happen.
Yeah.
And that improv teacher, like, this
You're
was
kind of
like,
like Luca, like you just kind of gave up.
I was just like,
Gave up on the city or whatever.
yeah, I was like, Luca. I'll be compared to Luca, that's fine. I was like Luka Doncic. I was just like,
You're just like, yeah, LA's way better.
well, LA's way better. I'm going to LA. But like my improv teacher from that class, like had texted me and was like, hey, like, there's this comedy school in LA, like, you should go. And I was like, no, like, that's so random. Like, that's like the last thing I would ever do. Like, I didn't know anyone in LA. And also, like, I'm not going to comedy school. Like, that's so far from my mind.
Yeah.
And then he had a friend who, like, was a part of the Groundlings, which is here in LA. And they, like, called me and they were like, you should just do an audition on Zoom. And I was like, that's so iconic. Like, that's so funny. So I, like, got on Zoom. Also, this is so funny, but on the Zoom call, like, I don't even know if this is a part of the official audition, but some person was like, do you do any impressions? And I don't. Like, well, I'm learning now, but, like, I didn't do impressions. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah, I can do an Obama impression.
Out
like,
of everybody else?
I could have chosen any white girl in the world to say.
Anybody.
Then, like, less risky than me being like, yeah, I can do, like, America's beloved leader, Obama. And I was literally like...
Let me hear it right now.
No, they literally were like, do it. And then in my head, I'm like, well, I'm never going to see any of these people again. So then I was just like, what did I say? I was like, well, Michelle and I. And that's it. Like, I, like, stopped. And I was like... stopped? And then I was like, I just blew that audition. But so they were like, yeah, you can come take classes at our school. And then I was like, nah. Because I was just like, I'm not moving to LA. Like, this is such a chaotic story. But literally a few months later, I was just praying one morning. And I kid you not, like, out of nowhere, I just, like, in my spirit, I just, like, knew I was supposed to move to LA. And then everything happened so fast. Like, I, like, prayed, like, really specifically. I was like, God, if you want me to move to LA, like, I need a job, I need a place to live, and I would really like a friend. And then, like, right after this happened, just one, genuinely, like, and right after this happened, like, I went to Ethiopia for 10 days, and while I was in Africa, I literally remember, like, praying, like, I was like, I feel called to this, like, I feel called to, like, mission, and I feel called to, like, worshiping you in this setting and, like, all this stuff, and I just felt like the Lord was like, yeah, you can do all of those things in LA, like, why do you get to choose, like, why are you deeming certain areas, like, more worthy of that? Do you know what I mean?
Wow, yeah.
And so I literally get on the plane to go home from LA, and I get, like, Wi-Fi on the plane, and so I'm, like, checking my phone, and I have a job offer for a remote job that I could, like, do in LA, and then one of my friends, Tyler Wisner, had put me in a group text with Carly Dill and was like, I don't know why, I just feel like you guys would be friends. And then Carly was like, OMG, like, blah. And I was just, like, started crying on the plane because I was like, I feel like I was like, OMG, like, blah. So crazy.
That's so cool.
And it was just cool. Like, there was a lot of confirmation. But anyway, that's a very roundabout way to say. That's how I got into comedy. Very unexpected. Nobody saw it coming.
That's wild. There's so much there. I think even just, like, hearing about your experience on the plane and just getting clarity, like, from so many different things all at once is really cool, because that's definitely I had a similar experience actually moving to LA. I won't get into it, but just seeing all those things come together, it happened within like a week and a half, 2 weeks for me.
Wait, I want to hear the story. You can tell me later.
Okay, I'll tell you later. But it just, like, so many things, like roommate situation, job, all of that culminated into, LA.
Right.
Never in my mind, never a dream, never like I'm going to move to LA, make it, like, any time as a kid. But in that moment, it was like, there's nowhere else I would go.
Yes.
Which is a really weird feeling to have about something that you never even dreamt of or never thought of.
Right. Like, you're like, there's no way this is my idea.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way. I would never do this.
Right.
And I never wanted this. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Isn't that kind of confirming, though, that you're like,
very
okay.
confirming. And it just goes to show that, God is just so sovereign over everything too, right? Because I've heard that story from a few other people too. And it's not always the case. Like, other people have different stories, like God moves in different ways. But it is cool to know that he had that plan in place. He knew Tyler was going to introduce you to Carly. He knew Carly was going to introduce you to other people. You were going to come out here. You're going to meet people. You were going to, like, thrive out here. And you didn't even have an idea how that could conceptually happen. But God already knew,
Yeah.
He set before you, like, the plan and gave you the inner peace to take the leap of faith. Like, I think that's such an interesting concept of, you had no idea if anything would work. but you just knew in that moment that you had the piece to take the leap. And then the leap turned into these other things that kind of confirmed even more and like put you in a place of thriving and being used by God in like really cool and unique ways too. So it's just really cool, like getting that moment of confirmation.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like so comforting to be like, even if it doesn't make sense, like I know that I would rather be with you, God, somewhere like,
Not me.
I know I would rather be with you, Ben. Like, I know I would rather, like, I'm safest with him and like I'm getting his best if I'm following him. And so it's just so comforting to be like, okay, this doesn't make sense to me, but I'm in great hands. So just crazy.
Yep. So wild. Another thing I wanted to point out with your story is just, you talked about like the, was it 4 years, 4 years of like ministry, 5 years of ministry. Sitting down, being faithful, and being like, you know what? I don't know why, but this is where my life is headed right now. And you gave all of yourself to that. You didn't kind of in your back pocket, like, yeah, like I'm building my testimony. Like in 5 years, like I'm gonna move to LA. Like this will be good. You know, you were all in, and you thought that that would become your life. You'd marry a pastor. No, you, just kidding. You'd like go down that road, and then, you know, and then you ended up coming out of that. But a lot of what you learned and what you're using now came from those 5 years.
Yes.
And I don't know everything, but I know you do. And it seems like you learned like so much in those 5 years that's now catapulting you forward. And like, oh, you did say like, you built a foundation of identity even for yourself.
Yeah.
And now coming out to Los Angeles, like you have that rooted.
Yeah. Like I cannot imagine, like, and everyone's story is different. Like God just knew me and like knew what I needed. But like, if I had been able to like pursue the dreams that I thought I was pursuing and the timing that I wanted to pursue them, like, I think I would have been a disaster because I didn't have like that. I mean, I knew the Lord. I'm not going to negate that. And he could have protected me through anything. Like he doesn't need seminary and all of this stuff to like protect me. But like, he used so much of this time, like so much of my like day to day and the decisions I have to make in the field I'm in now. And like, it's just so influenced by what I learned in those 5 years that I'm like, gosh, that was more valuable to me than 5 years of like training at Juilliard, you know, or wherever the Juilliard of comedy is, I guess, since that's where the road brought me. But like, it's just like so valuable. I would never trade it. And that's why like when life is hard now or he closes doors or whatever happens, like it's a lot easier now to be like, okay, I know that you're protecting me for something or you're preparing me for something else. And like my best is just not the best. And so I just want his best genuinely because it's just better.
Right. Yeah, I had a conversation with somebody yesterday, and just very wise man, and he was talking to me.
Was it Duncan?
No, it was not Duncan.
Duncan's like, we were talking yesterday.
Duncan's a wise man, but it was not Duncan.
He just told me I needed to celebrate myself.
He did. That was wise. Yeah. Duncan's been helping me with my self-confidence recently.
So hot, Dad.
Thanks, bro. I was talking to this guy at lunch, and he told me his whole life story, and it's really incredible. But like, he came back to John 15, and I read it this morning. Not going to recite it or anything, but the gist of it is, I can do nothing apart. I can do nothing, and I am nothing apart from Christ, from what Christ did for me, and from what Christ is continually doing through me. And it plays part into like the simple gospel, and you know the fact that like the difference between Christianity and every other religion is that it's not this stepping stool, ladder, mountain that you have to climb to get somewhere, to be a certain amount of good or moral or anything. It's just the humble realization that you are nothing without him, and you can do nothing without him. And he still chose to be homies with you. Like he loves you so much that he still chose to be homies with you and give you gifts and talents that you don't deserve to still be able to enjoy life for like 70, 80 years, God willing. You know, like that's crazy to me that the grace is so sufficient and also so unique and cool to each person that he still is like, I want you to have joy in life. But just know that this joy comes from me, like my being and my nature. And I want you to be a part of it, even though you really don't deserve it at all.
Yeah. And that's like where I feel like it
Really
can
don't
get
deserve
so
it at all.
warped, is because like I'm trying to think of the right way to word this. Like, when God created the earth and he created mankind, like he created everything perfectly, and like our design, like our purest, like most core design, like God knows anything good comes from him. Like nature comes from him. We're created literally in his image. Like music and creativity, like at its core, like at its purest form, like everything comes from him. And he knows, like, because he created it, he knows like its purest design, like nothing good happens apart from God. And because he's kind, he gives us free will. Like we're not his little puppets, so we get to
we're not
choose.
bots.
Yeah. We're not like his little, like, I don't know, like AI bots. And like we get to choose.
Instagram bots.
Yikes.
Yikes.
That's how I got my followers.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
That's how Duncan got his too.
That's literally how Duncan got all his LinkedIn connections.
Bots.
He bought the like base level package.
50
He was
bots.
a bot. You were a bot on your YouTube comments.
He was, yeah.
But like, he gives us that free will to choose, and so like that's, of course, like we don't have to get into like the theology of the beginning of the earth and like the fall of man, but like that's what his like kindness is like. I feel like if you misconstrue it, it could seem like, oh, like I feel like God only like the pleasure in life is like only if you're doing what he says, and it's like, no, it comes because we're like living the way we were quite literally created at our DNA. Like he doesn't need us. Like he could have literally just been like, I'm over the world. Like
right.
or not given us free will and just made us be his robots.
Yeah.
But like
either way, he could have Thanos snapped us.
Yeah. Like he's so patient with me. Like I literally am like always like a little sheep running around, and he's just so kind. And I'm like, you didn't have to be so like genuine, you know? And he's so like just meticulous with his plan for us. I think it's so beautiful.
It is so beautiful. Yeah. I'm sorry. As soon as you mentioned sheep, I just started thinking of those videos of like the sheep running around.
And they like fall in the hole.
No.
You know what I'm talking about?
No, the sheep with like the thick booties. You know those? You've seen those videos? Like the sheep running around and they're just like waddling?
No.
Bro, that's
Wait,
all I
I
can think about right now. Yeah.
Is that a Pirate Pete thing?
Pirate Pete?
Isn't that what you were in?
No.
Wait, what's it called? Ben was in like a sailor's chorus.
I hate you bringing this up right now.
I feel like your listeners want to know. What's it called?
It's called Patch the Pirate Club.
Patch the Pirate Club. That was close.
Context. Now I have to give context.
Oh no, bummer.
Thanks.
Sorry.
We were talking about Awana earlier because you were in Awana.
Okay, don't point a finger at me.
So funny. And I wasn't. And I never did Awana, but I did this thing called Patch the Pirate Club, where we learned like how to sing like songs, just like a choir setup, and we wore like white sailor hats and like white polos, and red sashes around our waist. I didn't even tell you about that.
You didn't even tell us about the sashes.
The sashes.
We would like to see a video later.
Oh, my mom didn't really take a whole lot of photos of me as a kid.
Is there more there? Or do you feel like it's just that?
I was just the forgotten child. It doesn't matter.
What are you in your lineup?
I'm number 5 out of 10.
10?
Yeah.
Wait, have we talked about this?
I don't know.
I'm the oldest of 8.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, big family.
Hey.
Let's go.
Wait, you're right in the middle though.
Right in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you're the oldest.
I'm the oldest, yeah.
So you're like the
So I have the
pretentious
pictures
snob.
taken of me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the pretentious snob. That's what I was gonna say.
Sorry, we have to give context, guys.
I will say we've asked Duncan to research like 4 things, and the big butt sheep is the first thing he's fallen through on.
It makes sense, honestly.
Oh my god. Why are they so
There was another one, but it was really
It's worth it.
It's like Jello back
So
there.
funny. It's like Jello.
Anyway, the sheep. Not to take.
We can't go that.
Go look it up on your own time on TikTok, Instagram, wherever you're at. Anyway, so you were saying you were the lost sheep. You feel like a lost sheep, and Jesus is just like coddling you and just helping you through life.
I feel like I'm younger now.
I'm good. I got past it.
I can't. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm past it. I got my fix.
Yes. He's just very cool.
I love it. I agree. He is way too kind,
Way too-
especially in scenarios like this.
No, literally, this is an example. But I feel like he's like
I get so distracted.
laughing with us, like,
I don't know why. I do this. I don't know why I like host. I get distracted like crazy.
I feel like you're good at it.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, of
Thank you.
course.
That means a lot.
You mean that.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Just goes silent and I just don't say anything the rest.
Well,
Well, yeah. That was my mountaintop.
No,
And
I do
commercial
though.
break.
I do think God has such a good sense of humor. I will say that. Like me and my friends
Right.
always say, like God's the original comedian,
He is.
and it's hard because like comedy can be so like vulgar, and it's
Yeah.
also like literally like at its core in a lot of instances based off of complaints or like negativity.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of fun to think about like God loves to laugh and like being able to find genuine ways to like create like comedy
Right.
that like glorifies him. I don't know. It's something I've been thinking about. I'm not mastered it. I'm
I don't
just
know.
trying
Did
to
the
learn.
sheep glorify him?
He made
He made that.
What if he was literally
made that.
laughing? He's like,
He probably is.
I feel
think
like
God
he thinks
chuckles.
it's funny. I do too.
You think God chuckles?
Yeah, I tell him jokes sometimes. I don't know if that's weird.
I don't think so.
But I'll be like writing jokes and I'll be like, yeah.
You're like, yeah, I got the nod from
I'm like,
upstairs.
yeah, he laughed. Sometimes he's like,
you're gonna
snogging.
be like performing on SNL someday, and you're just gonna be like,
literally looking
yo,
at me.
what do you think? What do you think, bro?
I don't need him. I need his help.
You talked about that on your dream with Frasier. You want to be on SNL? Is that true?
Yeah, that would be awesome. Like, I feel like even when you're like, I say like, I'm like, you guys know this is your
Right.
biggest dream. Growing up, like, even if I like was not.
My biggest dream is also to be on SNL. So.
Wait, perfect. We
Yeah.
should just all go on
Let's do
together.
it.
We're pretty funny. We're like the next Please Don't Destroy. I love them. But
Is that your biggest dream, or is that?
I don't know what my biggest dream is because, like, sincerely, like, I think, like, at my core, like, I'm just like, a life where I, like, get to do what I love every day, and then preferably, of course, with people that I enjoy, like, that's the dream. Like, I have so many dreams. I'd love to, like, do a TV show. Like, I would love to make movies. Like, I love writing, and so, like, me and my friends have been working on more, like, short film projects and stuff, but, like, those are all dreams. But SNL would definitely be, like, at the top tier. Like, that would be amazing. And
Yeah.
I feel like it would just be so fun. You
That
know?
would be, yeah.
Wouldn't it be fun? But
It'd be super fun.
yeah, I love watching SNL. I
I
watch it
love
every week.
watching the skits, and they're just like cracking up in the middle of them.
Same.
You know what I mean?
That's just fun. Like,
Yeah.
and I love, like, I just think, like, one of the best gifts you can give to someone is to make them laugh. And I love, like, It's just the best. Like, so much of my childhood, I feel like, is marked by those sketches.
I think the second best gift is being able to make yourself laugh.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I agree. Honestly, I love me.
This gift is being able to make yourself so easy and fun, and nobody else has to understand it. Is being able to make yourself so easy and fun. Understand it. It's so funny. We were at Creative Night, which is kind of a group thing our friends put on. It's so funny. Every month.
We were at,
oh, you remember?
Yeah.
Let's go. Kind of a group thing. We were at Creative Night. Every month. I actually heard about it. Yeah. Welcome. We are Creative. Welcome to the fold. Just kind of a group thing. Long story short, we were at Creative Night and we're keeping it in. We were at Creative Night and my friend Jace was showing something he did for Twitch or whatever, and it was like 7 ways to die or something. And
oh, that's funny.
It was just funny. Like, it was funny ways to die. And my friend's next to me, and I'm like vividly laughing. And she's like, bro, why are you laughing so hard at like, does physical violence make you laugh? And I go, I'm like, yeah, I was bullied as a kid.
Were you physically bullied?
She just stopped. And she was just like, oh, I feel like I brought up a lot. And I was like, nah, it's already out.
No, it's
out the bag.
Wait, sorry, I asked more questions. I feel like that's not the right response, actually. In hindsight, I should have been like, sorry. No, I was like, were you physically bullied?
You're like, tell me more. Tell me more.
So physical violence is like your peak comedy?
I don't know if it's my peak comedy. I love intuitive humor, puns, to everything else. Like, right. But I don't know. I enjoy physical, like, not violence, but just like like.
No, go on.
Yeah.
This clip is gonna be used in a Dateline episode one day. It's gonna be like, we always knew we had a dark side.
I enjoy I think it's just funny because it reminds me that this life is temporary and our bodies are temporary, and we should take care of them, and we should take care of other people's bodies. We should not intentionally hurt each other. But it just reminds me that, this life is temporary, and we're going somewhere where our bodies aren't going to be able to be hurt and broken. Yeah. And they're going to be full. And I don't know why that ties into comedy for me.
No, that's cool though. That's good.
For me, it gives me the liberty, I think, to laugh.
Yeah. And like not take everything so seriously because you're like, this world's not even my home.
Yeah, exactly.
At the end of the day.
Yeah.
That's cool.
What's your top tier comedy?
I don't know. I feel like I have such.
You don't know. You're a comedian. You should know this.
But that's why I feel like I have such a wide.
Are you a real comedian? Like, are you just faking?
I'm faking.
Yeah, I knew it. Cap.
I honestly was like, how long can I get away with this?
1 hour and 11 minutes.
Okay. Dang it. I was hoping for longer. Shooting for 2. No, I feel like my peak comedy is like, I do love like slapstick, which is not what I do. So that's like. Mm-hmm. Bummer. Maybe I should learn. Maybe. But like, I loved like Chris Farley and David Spade and Adam Sandler growing up. Yeah. Like those were like my people. But I also love like dry humor. I love sarcasm.
Sarcasm's hilarious.
Sarcasm is so funny, especially if it's done well and you're just like, oh, that. But I like jokes that like take a second and then you're like, that was clever.
You have to either it's clever or you just have to second guess it.
Yeah, because it's delivered so like deadpan. Just now? Oh.
See?
He honestly has a knack for it. I don't know what to say. No, I like stuff like that. Right. But physically. Can you tell us more about that?
It was physically, emotionally,
mentally.
Yeah, spiritually.
What happened? Was it the people in your cohort? Oh, your co-op? Your co-op?
Do you know the Duggars?
I know all their names. Isn't that crazy? I have their names memorized.
Wait, really?
Yeah, isn't that a weird, like, that's weird. Josh, Jana, John David, Jill, Jessa, Ginger. I'm embarrassed. This is lame. No, I could say all of them. I'm not kidding. Okay, who did I stop at?
Ginger,
Josh, Shannon, John David, Jill, Justin, Ginger, Joseph, Josiah, Joanna, Jedediah, Jeremiah, Jason, James, Justin, Jackson, Johanna, Jennifer, Jordan, and Josie. If they had more kids when I stopped watching, I don't know.
That's crazy.
That's a weird fact.
crazy.
No,
That's
you don't need
such
to
a
clap
weird
for
fact.
that. It's just like I watch that show
So
sometimes.
you have a lot of trauma then.
Yeah. Thanks for bringing that up.
You're welcome.
I just watched that show growing up, and that's like the intro. So just memorize it. It's like
Yeah,
memorizing a theme song. You know?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the Phineas and Ferb theme song.
But some building a monkey, climbing a shower.
Giving a monkey a shower.
Giving.
Dun, dun, dun. Surfing tidal waves.
Creating nanobots of driving a sister and say nanobots of driving a sister. Mom, Phineas and Ferb are creating a title sequence. See, clearly that one didn't resonate with me as much as the Duggars.
You just
I
enjoyed
did
the
like
Duggars
it.
more. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I didn't watch the show that much, but I'm not. I don't think that's checking out. I think
Well,
I probably did
you
watch
remembered all the names. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, that was an interesting time in life.
That was a weird time. I recently read a book about how that all ended up.
They have a documentary too out. There's
Really?
a documentary. Yeah, Shiny Happy People. I think it's on.
Oh, wait, really?
Hulu. I think it's on Hulu or
I didn't know
Amazon.
that's what that documentary
Amazon.
was about.
Yeah, it's about. It's more about the like religious ideology / cult that they were part of.
Oh yeah, because they were
Yeah.
a part of that whole thing. Cults are so interesting to me.
So interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. We could go down that tangent
really
if we
could.
wanted to.
I get it. I just read a book about a cult called The Family, and it was crazy.
Where was it?
Okay, well apparently the details have been changed because the cult's like still a thing.
Really?
But like in the book, it's in Idaho. But I was doing some research, and I think it's like in like Oregon or something.
Oh, so they changed them to kind of like
Yeah, they had
keep
to like
it-
change the names and stuff.
Interesting.
I know. And then I was on
Funny.
this whole Reddit thread and like trying to find the real details, but it was hard to find.
Oh, I bet. Cults are very secretive.
Yeah. Ugh.
Ick.
It's so creepy.
Yeah.
Do you ever think about like if you accidentally joined a cult? Because sometimes I'm like, I feel like I could
You did.
accidentally-
You accidentally joined a cult, didn't you?
No, but like I feel like that is like it happens slow.
It
Like,
does, yeah. Super slow.
Right.
That's why I think like God calls us to be, well, he does. He calls us to be vigilant and even against like false prophets and whatnot, obviously,
Yeah.
because Christianity isn't the only religion that gets used for it, but religion in and of itself like just gets used to draw people into false religions and cults and stuff that
Yeah.
really mess you up as a human, like more than anything else in life, which is such a bummer that that's a reality, but that's just a reality of sin. You know, it corrupts the good, corrupts things that are meant for good. But yeah, cults are, you just got to be really vigilant with people in general. Anybody
Yeah.
you meet, I think, you know, and that's why staying close with Jesus just allows you to discern relationships well, because relationships are the center point of everything in life.
Yeah.
Like, everything. So if your relationship is with Jesus, then you can discern like if someone is using Jesus to, you know, manipulate and gain things for themselves and whatnot.
Yeah. Ugh. So bad.
Yeah. My family was a part of like this church that was kind of like a cult in a way. Like they
Wait,
operated a little
what?
bit. Not really like full on cult, because cult is a strong word. Just like I don't want to discredit that. But everybody in the church was homeschooled, and
Well, they
it
were
was-
in the co-op.
that wasn't the co-op.
Oh.
The co-op's something different. The
Okay,
co-op's
okay.
legit, like
Totally.
educational experience.
God. It was a co-op. Okay.
It was a co-op, all right.
No, wait. I'm sorry I interrupted.
I
that.
actually had teachers.
So it operated like actually like a cult, though. What do you mean?
Just from a leadership standpoint and from restrictions that were put on people in the church and like different hierarchies that you had to go through.
Was there a group of leaders, or was it just like one guy and then people under him?
There were two pastors, so that's why I say it wasn't like an official cult, because usually like a cult has like one main leader and then there's like a hierarchy. I think like the church was headed for a cult like position, and then the church split because like the two leaders didn't see eye to eye and everything, and then I'm not sure
wow.
what happened after that, but I know like we left. So
So it's not like still
I
going
don't know.
on.
I don't know. I haven't done any research into it. I know
Right.
like there were a lot of families that still like met and stuff afterwards for church and all that. But it was great. Like potlucks were fire, you know. You spent the whole day at church. But it was just very legalistic, if nothing else. It was very legalistic. And I just know a lot of families that were like hurt from it.
Yeah. Do you feel like you carry that with you, like the legalism piece? Like growing up, I feel like growing up in maybe a more legalist setting, do you feel like that's affected how you view church now?
It's definitely affected it. I think I've worked through a good amount of it, to the point where it's definitely affected it. I don't view like following Christ and doing his commandments as legalism, which I think is such an important distinction, because if you come out of legalism, you can very easily be like, well, I'm just going to do whatever I want and like have a relationship with God, and that's okay. Easily be like, well, I don't have to do anything that God says, which isn't reality. But I think for me, it's more of just a burden to discern. And so it just makes me a little bit more hypersensitive to things that are being done in church. And so I find myself being more critical than open and loving, just with people, you know?
Totally.
Because I'll associate things that are said with the person and then be like, oh, they obviously believe this and this and this because they believe this, you know, and maybe this church like does this because they said this one thing. And so I'll just kind of like, sometimes I'll just write it off completely without doing more research or talking to people and having conversation.
Right.
So, and also the burden being, like I kind of feel a weight of being the person in the room that can vouch for other people that have been through the same thing.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
That actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
No, I think the path is very narrow, and God talks about that a lot. The path is very narrow, you know, and Christian is pretty mainstream in this country, so it's easy to just think that if you go to church and say God a couple times and you find yourself in a group of Christian friends or participating in Christian activities, church activities, that you're like you're good.
Yeah.
And I think it's just so much more simple but serious than just that.
Yeah, I do too. That's why it like makes me genuinely so sad. Like, even like we had a really, you know, hard, hurtful situation in my church that I grew up at. And
Really?
it like really gave me a weird view of church for a little while, and like that like really. Yeah, God redeems everything, and so He redeemed that situation. But it was like really hurtful, and it like put me off to church for a while. And I feel like I meet so many people who are like so not interested in Christianity because they've been hurt by like an ideology or someone from a church or like something like that.
Right.
Which I understand. Like, it just makes me sad because I'm like, oh my gosh, like if you knew Jesus, like the one thing I know for a fact is that like he's so wonderful and so beautiful and like he would not hurt you, like,
Yeah.
you know, and
Yep.
like he's perfect. And so it always makes me sad, like, and you can run into that a lot. Like people will be like, oh, you're a Christian, like, and I'm always like, I'm not even defensive. I'm just like, yeah, that's so sad. Like, I wonder, like, you know, what happened? Like, just because I feel like it always comes back to the rules. Like, oh, you're a Christian, so you, like, believe this or, like, and I'm always like, it's just not, like, it's so much different than that. It's such a relationship and not a religion. Like,
Right.
even in the Bible, like, all of the, like, religion was where everything I feel like kind of went awry. Like, it was even religious leaders that killed Jesus, which I feel like we forget. Like, But
like, nah, it was the Romans.
yeah, no, literally, like, but I
Freaking Pilate.
It was Pilate with the old, he washed his hands of that.
Oh yeah, right. He was good.
Right, he was
chill.
fine. If you wash your hands,
Yeah.
you're fine. But I do agree with you. Like, that's my takeaway. I'm like, if you wash your hands, you gotta get away.
That's
with
why we
anything.
started washing our hands after we poop because of Pilate.
It was a whole Pontius thing.
We're like, whew. I washed my hands clean of
I'm
that
good.
one.
It's like a whole gimmick. Like, it's soap. It doesn't even exist. It's not real. That's my hot take. I'm just like, I don't think soap
Like-
works. That's why I don't use it.
Actually,
I'm just kidding. I use soap. I feel like I have to say that. But no, I do agree with you.
Clarification's
Like,
great.
you can't like check boxes and then that's
Yeah.
not the thing. Like, that's never what God wanted for us. That's not it. And it's so important. Like, I remember I would always call my dad when I was in college, like, with questions. Like, I would be like, just what about this? And like, what about this? And my dad always would be like, he would help me come to the answer because it's also very good to know what you believe. But
Right.
like, he was always like, but I think like it's so much more about Jesus and so much less about all of this. And then you have like all these like you said, like so many people that check all their boxes, but they don't know Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I'm so passionate about like, I'm not trying to like sell someone on a religion, and I'm not trying to like get someone to adhere to like my specific, convictions or like morals or anything like that. Like, I genuinely believe like if you have an encounter with the Holy Spirit and you like know God, then like he's so beautiful that like your worldview starts changing, and I it's just, that's what I'm like so passionate about, because just like we're people and we're broken. So of course like the way we go about things is not perfect.
right. Did you ever like place that high standard? Excuse me. Did you ever place that high standard on yourself, like as a person? Yes, but as a Christian, like that unreachable standard.
Yes, and I'm sure, like, if we get into it, like, if I'm, like, talking to my therapist and stuff, like, there's still a lot. Just, like, so much, like, performance. Like, I'm such a perfectionist on myself only, which is, like, crazy. Mm-hmm. Like, everyone else, like, my friend could come to me and be, like, feeling so bad about, like, doing something, and I can literally be, like, oh, my gosh, like, don't even worry about it, like, and genuinely mean it. But then I could do the exact same thing,
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh, you suck. Like,
I'm the worst.
no, literally, I feel like I have such I can still really do that. And like, then, like growing up in the church, there are things like, we know now, like our parents taught us because they love us and they like wanted to protect us and instill good values. But then like somewhere in my brain like morphed something to like good and bad equals like you're good or you're bad, and
Yeah.
that's not what the Bible said, and that's not what my parents said. But like, I definitely have that. Like, there's
Yeah.
still some of that in me.
Oh yeah. No, I relate to that a lot. I'm very hard on myself. I've realized through like some therapy recently that I like don't believe that I even deserve the other side of whatever it is, the success that comes from it or the healing that comes from it. I'm like, no, that's not me. And so I'll self-sabotage myself, set incredibly high standards that aren't even attainable, so that it's so funny because it makes you mad at yourself for not reaching it, but then it also gives you an excuse not to reach it.
Yes.
You're like, well, it's too far up there, so I might as well quit. But then now I'm just going to sulk and tell myself that I suck because I didn't make it.
Yeah, and like beat myself up about it. And I feel like as far as like goals or aspirations go, like I feel like a lot of that I kind of got rid of, or like in my years like working in ministry and stuff, just because like it was genuinely like a full overhaul. Like I had moments that I was like, okay, like I don't even know what I would be striving to achieve, but like it comes out so much for me in like personality, like leaving an event or like a hangout or whatever, like, and being like immediately like 10 things that I'm like, oh, you shouldn't have said that, or like,
Yeah.
what if this person interpreted it this way?
Yeah.
And like, there's so much freedom that I'm trying to learn right now, and just being like at peace with like,
Doesn't matter.
I did my best. Yeah, it
Right,
doesn't
yeah.
matter. It really doesn't. Like,
Sometimes it does.
Right.
And I found too, better
Yeah.
or more aware. And it's a good thing because I do notice when I maybe shouldn't have said something. I notice when maybe someone else said something to someone else, and I can go and talk to them and maybe console them. And I've realized that that's a gift. But then what the enemy does is he's like, let's take that up a notch. Just create a lot of anxiety from that and worry that like you're the problem all the time. You did this, and it just focuses on yourself rather than others, and then that gift is all of a sudden it's just like stifled, and you can't do anything with it, and all you're doing is worrying about yourself, what happened, like, oh, like I said like this to this person yesterday, and like that was a little weird, wasn't it a little weird? It was just super weird. I should go say something. No, I shouldn't go say something to him. It's like that whole cycle starts going, and then suddenly you can't be the one in the room that's actually more aware, someone that God can use as kind of like a what's it called? A lighthouse / like outpost for somebody, where you get to kind of like be super aware of what's going on and be more of a healing force in a room rather than just like a vacuum.
Yeah, just like so focused on yourself.
Right.
It is such a tactic. Because too, like, I remember, like, I had this acting teacher kind of recently, like in the last year, and he was like asking me a question. Like, I had some block in this scene I was doing, and I said something to the extent of like, well, I don't want to do too much, or like I don't want to be too much, to the extent of like, nope, that's like the 5th time you've said that in this class. Like somewhere in your mind, you like somewhere along the way you picked up that you were too much, and now like it's genuinely affecting the way. I mean, in acting, it's genuinely affecting your ability to act like a human being, because you're like so scared that it's going to be too much, or like you're going to like step on someone else's toes, and like I never want to be like literally if I finish an improv scene, I feel like I talked more than the other person. I'll be like, sorry. And my teachers are always like, stop apologizing. Like just
act.
Just do it. Yeah. So what if you spoke a little bit more? Like, it's not like you entered the scene like trying to stomp on this person. Like, it just happened. Like, it's fine. Just move on.
It's not malicious.
No. Oh my gosh, no.
Yeah.
And so I think I'm like really trying to like instill that. Like, you're not too much. Like, nobody else 99.9% of the time is leaving thinking about what I did in that interaction or in that scene as much as they're thinking about what they did. Like, I'm genuinely trying to like carry that, because it is so much better to just be focused on other people. Like, I live with myself. I don't want to be thinking about myself all the time. That's so tiresome.
Yeah. Do you think that's something that stifles creativity too, like on a general sense for other people and other creative like aspects in life? Yeah,
I feel like it probably does, right? Because like I do think to be creative, like genuinely, you should probably have like a sense of self-awareness. Like, I need to know how I'm perceived to some extent, which I'm not sure that I'm sure that I don't have like a great handle on that.
Super annoying.
No, it's oh, perfect.
Yeah, I got
That's like
you.
my whole bit.
No, I got you. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm like, I so wish that I was interviewing Duncan right now.
Because you would have the upper hand and you'd be more comfortable. Yeah.
I'd be like, Duncan, how do you think I'm perceived? Annoying has already been used. No, like you.
He would just gas you up the whole time. He wouldn't even tell you the truth.
That's what I wanted. That's
I'm
why
just
I came on this podcast. No, I think like you have to be self-aware, but like if you're so focused on yourself, like then you have a very narrow ability, like you have a very narrow range to work from. Like so much, especially if comedy is creating characters that are relatable, but like obviously, like, I'm one person, so I can only create so many parodies of myself. Like, I have to, like, pay attention to other people. And then in live comedy, you're, like, also paying attention to what is making the audience laugh. And, like, if I'm just, like, up there only doing what I think is funny, then, like, I could really lose a crowd, you know?
Right.
Because there's so many things audiences laugh at that I don't think is... like, I'm not meaning to be funny even sometimes, and that happens, and then, I don't know. So I do think it stifles creativity. Like, I definitely don't want to be focusing on myself.
Right.
Do you think it stifles creativity?
I think it does. I would have to agree with pretty much everything you said. Yeah, I don't know. I think just we as humans become so wrapped up with what we're thinking that it puts us in a place where, like you said, we're not able to be self-aware and aware of how our actions are being received by others.
Yeah.
And I don't want to knock on anybody, but I think that's how you get into a position of being a quote-unquote starving artist. I think, and maybe that's my hot take today, but I think you get into a position of being a starving artist because you get so fixated on your own self and your own desires and not anybody else's. And I think everything's nuanced, so it's got to be a balance of both to really find your flow and your niche. And when you just get consumed by yourself, then you lose that and you just make stuff and don't want real feedback. You just want the feedback that's going to make you feel good, and then you're going to keep making that stuff, and it's a loop. And then before you know it, you're like down the road and you've got your little bubble maybe, but have you really impacted the world with your art? Because that's what art is really supposed to do, is like be impactful, be something that shifts the world, changes minds, causes interruption into everybody else's status quo thinking. So if you're not doing that, then what are you really doing with your gift?
Yeah, totally. And like when you have like that genuine like mindset of like, one, this world is not my home, like, and two, like I belong to the creator of the universe. Like he's given me my worth, he's given me my identity, like he's given me my purpose. It gives you so much more room to like genuinely be a selfless artist, because obviously like nobody is perfect and no one is like perfectly selflessly intended all the time, but like art is for other people. Like I hope like I go into every show being like, my main goals are to like make the audience laugh and like feel good, but also to like make the people that I'm performing with like set up for success and to make them look good too. Like, or like if make a movie, like I want to make it for other people to enjoy, like, and I wanted to invoke whatever, emotion I'm intending. But like, it's so easy to get so caught up, like, and picture yourself like with the money or like under the lights or like with the success, and like that at its core is like me wanting to use other people for their validation and not like actually caring about them. Like if you picture yourself like, if you're just like dreaming of like being famous, which isn't, I don't know if I don't think that's bad, but like I want to like make other people feel like, I just hope that I can see the other people and not just as like stepping stones to get what I want, Right. And I feel like if I ever lose sight of that, like, well, I'm sure I lose it like all the time and I need people to like reel me back in. But if I ever like fully lose sight of that, like I probably need to just take a break, Yeah,
go marry a pastor or something.
I need to get on to
I'm just kidding. Gone.
With some 5'7" presenting man. I literally like that. I have no shade towards short people, like short guys. Short guys are in. Literally, my celebrity crush is Marcelo Hernandez, and he's famously 5'7". Like, yeah. I just feel like I needed to say that. Short Kings Spring, Tiny Titans. Short Kings. I don't know.
I love the
There's a few.
You could be a pastor.
Thank you.
Alliteration skills like that.
Well, maybe I will be again.
Alliteration skills like that. We can't be pastors. Alliteration skills like that.
We're like getting into that egalitarian theology for like. We're like getting. Okay, guys. So here's what I think about women in the church. Okay, guys. So here's what I think.
How about we talk about another hot take?
Okay.
Not even a hot take, but something interesting that we were talking about earlier. About you earlier, 2 years into your comedy career. About earlier.
Yeah, I've made some money. I've made some money. Yeah, I've made some money. Short Kings, they're here. I don't know.
You're 2 years into your comedy career.
Yeah.
And you're having some success and you're working towards like the goals that you've talked about. Can you speak a little bit to how it's been as a woman in the industry in comedy? And like, cause I know there's been a lot of notions about women in comedy, like not being funny enough. Like you were mentioning something about like how there's a stigma that like women need to be like not as pretty in order to be funny. But what's your take? What's your experience been like in the industry so far with that?
That's
and
definitely,
has it all been negative or?
There's been so much positive too. And I would say like, even like looking back on like women it's so funny that I didn't ever think about doing comedy, because I look back in so many like of my like role models that I just was obsessed with were like women in comedy, and like I just look back and like genuinely like on such a sincere level, like this is not, I mean this, like women like Gilda Radner, I mean this, Kristen Wiig and Tina Fey and Amy Poehler, and I mean Lorraine Newman, so many, like oh my gosh, Carol Burnett, like just all these women growing up, like they genuinely were the women that I like looked to and like adored, in the sense of like I felt like I could relate with them, and in the sense of like oh, like these women have like made it in this industry. I could relate with them in the sense of like too. And I mean, now I'm like, they were literally so brilliant, like but they just felt so much more like relatable to me, at least, like with my personality, and like I love, like I just am so thankful for those women, and so sincerely, like I've heard all of them pretty much talk about like their experience and like the paths that they paved for like me and my other like female friends that are like pursuing comedy now. And like you just hear stories, because it is like all of the entertainment industry really, and I guess it's just the world, but like like it's so like I'm like grateful for the feminist movement, like I am, like, and I'm thankful that entertainment is changing, because I've heard horror stories specifically for women, like and in comedy, like there's certainly, like I've heard so many people, I was even listening to like a podcast the other day, and there's like so much historically that's been like, oh, like to be a successful woman in comedy, you have to be like one of the guys, like just stuff like that. And like a lot of the women I look up to have like told stories about like how they felt like maybe they needed to like wear super baggy clothing. I'm literally wearing baggy clothing, but like I'm like, so it's still
You're
happening.
With the guys
I wanted you guys to laugh at my jokes, but like
Duncan was gonna laugh anyway.
Duncan's literally been waiting for this podcast episode. He's like, she's my favorite influence.
You have more followers than him, so
right. That's the threshold.
That's it.
I like was tracking Duncan's followers like number by number. When I passed, I was like, yes. But then he like passed me for a while. No, not again. But no, like I don't know.
I gotta post more videos. More crush videos. Those crush.
That's why I was posting on Instagram. I was literally like I've got to beat Duncan. Like it's literally a numbers game. And this is my standard.
Oh, that's funny.
I didn't even know how many Instagram followers you had, so thanks for telling me. But
15,000 less than you.
He knows.
He knows how many I have. He knows how many I have. Oh, he's on there. He's like,
been on there the whole show.
He's literally like, what does she have that I don't have? He's like, I honestly don't get the appeal. He's like, she's a woman in comedy. Like,
what?
Why would someone even follow her? No, I do think
follow her, guys. She's hilarious.
He unfollows me. I do think there has been. So like, yes, to answer your question, and of course, like I haven't experienced it as much. So like, yes, to answer your question, and of course, like I have any sort of expertise to speak on this.
Yeah.
But like, I even have like, there's definitely like been moments that like there have been comments along the lines of like, well, it's just going to be harder or like, you know, and I do think that's true. There's also like a stigma that like people will say the men are funnier than women. And I'm like, I don't know. I know a lot of people will say the men are funny at all. Like, you know what I mean? Like, like my friend Ben. No, I think you're funny. I already told you that. But I do think like, I think something I've been like, as like that the industry keeps like changing and evolving, and hopefully that will become like less and less of an issue. But I also think like something I'm really passionate about is like, if you're in an industry like that, it's the same with acting. Like, oh, I feel like if I don't look a certain way and do a certain thing and dress a certain way or whatever, connect with people or network a certain way, like I'm never going to make it.
Right.
And that's just not true, because like, you know, what's mine, I think is mine. Like, I don't think someone can take it from me. Obviously there's wisdom in working hard and taking advice from people before you, but like,
well, you have to study and learn the basics from the greats, whatever, before you even can have your own voice.
Right.
My pastor said this recently. He was talking about like even as kids, like human nature is mimicry. So like you learn and mimic, and then you find your voice. Mimic, and
right.
out there because they were unapologetically bold and unapologetically themselves.
Yes.
And that's what people love.
Absolutely. Like my favorite.
People actually genuinely can stick to that.
Right, because it's like so much like you compare yourself. We are constantly comparing ourselves to other people, and then it's like, oh my gosh, like I'm just gonna try to like mimic, like you said. But like that's the whole point. Like there was already like I'm like blanking. There was already an Emma Stone. I love Emma Stone. Like I'm obsessed with her. I love everything she does. Like, but she already like is Emma Stone. So I can like learn from like her. I mean, she's incredibly talented, like remarkable, and I can learn from so many things from her. But like, first of all, I'm incapable of being exactly like her because I'm not her. But also like, we already have her. But like, there's not like a me yet, or there is in the places that I am. But like, I just like.
There's not an A-list Alli Wulfert
There's not an A-list Alli Wulfert yet. Well, let's hope. But like, I really do think like more than like having a ton of money or like winning an Oscar or whatever. Like, I genuinely think like such a cool gauge of success would be like when I do something, I want it to have that like, oh, that was like Alli did that. Like, I just want to have a voice, and I think obviously like that won't happen until I really know what that is, and I think that's part of our like experience, especially in our 20s. Like we're just learning like how to find, in our 30s, like we're learning to find that voice, but you're not going to find it if you're just constantly comparing yourself to other people. Like I need to know what I think is funny, and if I genuinely think it's funny to like look a certain way and like present myself a certain way or play dumb or whatever it is, like great, then I'll do that. But I'm doing it because I think it's funny, not because someone told me I'll be funnier if I do that. But I'm doing it because. So I'm navigating that in every area. Like,
I bet it's tough.
It's so hard.
I know it's tough for me, so
yeah.
I can't even imagine.
Yeah, like it is hard. Like even just like so much of like entertainment, like if you even get an audition, is just hinged off of like one photo, and it's like so easy to be like, okay, well then I should just try to make myself look this way in a photo, and it's like, what do I like who am I, you know? And like if the right projects and stuff, I do think like with the right hard work, those things will come.
And why would you even want to work on projects that you don't really connect with anyway?
Yeah, exactly.
For money, maybe, you know?
Right, well, sure.
I mean, definitely like there are projects that you take in order to like make money, survive, pay bills, obviously. But at the core, if this is your artistry, then yeah, why would you take a role where it doesn't really align if this is your art, you want to act and how you want to portray your character and who you are anyway.
Yes, totally. Like I fully agree with that. And like I love New Girl, and like I love New Girl, and it's so fun to watch because like Zooey Deschanel, all of their characters, and truly, but like I'll just use her as an example.
Fun to watch
she's
because like
so
Zooey
unique,
New Girl,
and she is genuinely like, that is the script that you could hand someone else, and like there are a ton of scripts that like someone else could replicate somewhat easily. Everyone brings a unique flair, but like I think like a true like mark of like a good performance and a good script is like, if you just dropped it on the street and someone else did it, like it would not work, and she just brings such a unique voice,
like mark
and
of like
I
a
love
good
watching her for that. And
performance.
every actor that I admire does that. And I'm like,
I think that's why that show is actually so good.
Yeah.
Because take that and multiply it by whatever, 5, 6.
yes, because all of them, so funny. Like if what's an iconic line? Like if you just dropped a New Girl script on the street and like one of us picked it up and was like, I'm getting my driving moccasins. Isn't that one of Schmidt's lines?
Yeah.
It would be like, that's kind of weird. But like the way he says it, it's so funny. That's probably not even the line. Whatever the line is, you know what I'm talking about. Or like how he says kimono. Like he's just so iconic, and I just like want to like be able to bring that level of like intentionality and just uniqueness. And I don't think you can get there without hard work. So that's the work I'm trying to put in right now, is like finding that voice.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you ever really come out of that season of hard work. I think it just continues.
Yeah.
And I think you just learn to love it. And those are the people that succeed in whatever they're trying to succeed at.
Have good careers.
Yeah.
Great. The work just keeps going.
Right?
We're never gonna get there. The work was kind of fun though. I'm like scared. I think about retiring. Sometimes I'm like, bro, I'm gonna have to really come into some money before I retire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's usually how it works.
Okay, but listen, I haven't come into no money. And if I'm marrying a pastor, we're really not gonna have that to fall back on. So any rich pastor, any 5'7" rich pastor, what else have we said? I'm joking. I feel like
Stephen
I need to say
Furtick.
I'm joking. Okay, I think he's married. I'll open my mind to non-pastors, and then we'll just see what happens. I'll open my mind to all heights and occupations.
Duncan, you got a shot.
All heights and occupations. He's like, I've been stalking. All heights and so long. He's like, take me out of this joke. This is not my joke.
I think this is the new running joke.
The new running joke. What if I was like, you're joking?
This is Alli's pitch to become the second host on Created to Create, and this is Duncan's pitch to become the producer.
How are we doing?
Doing great so far.
Duncan actually wants to be the third host.
Yeah, I think he's putting in work to try and make that happen.
On me.
This is honestly
Well,
a
then
Duncan heavy episode. I'm sorry, that's on me. I keep bringing him into it.
It's okay. I don't think he's complaining.
He's like, you look, and he has a little lapel mic on. You're like, wait. That camera.
We can add it in later.
Yeah, tomorrow I'm here, and we're just recording voiceover for the podcast. He's like, let me edit.
That's so funny.
That's so good.
You talked about like big dreams and end goals earlier on, you know, your biggest one being SNL, and
One of them. I don't know.
one of your biggest
Yeah, one of
dreams
them.
being SNL. One is, I think I know the answer, but is it good? Do you think it's good to have an end goal in mind? Like when you're pursuing a dream or even something you think like God's called you to?
I really do. Like, I definitely do. I certainly need, like, I'm all for, like, vision boards and, like, goal. And now I love ChatGPT. I'll literally tell ChatGPT, like, some of my, like, goals and be like, tell me how to do this by November. And they'll, like, set little, like, task lists, and I will follow them because I'm like, great. I love goals. That's my hack. I know computers are taking our jobs, but, like,
It's good, though. You don't have to spend as much time, like, planning that out.
Yeah, it saves you a lot of, like,
Don't have to
thought,
spend
and,
as
like,
much time,
I
like-
definitely think goals are important. Like, I just think not being, like,
You don't have to spend as much time.
like so set on it that you're not open to anything else. Like,
Not
it's
being,
so
like-
good for me to be like, yeah, like, I would love
That you're not
to
open
get
to
the
anything else.
opportunity
Not
to
being,
audition
like-
for SNL one day, and therefore, like, I'm doing things now that would help prepare me for that. Same as, like, current day, I have, like, a career in acting, and I, like, have goals in acting that I want to accomplish, and I'm
current day.
doing things every single day to make those happen. And
Yeah.
like, I love that. I think where the disappointment comes is if I don't book SNL one day, like, that's okay. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't have any I mean, if you get an audition and then you don't get it, of course there's like going to be a moment that you're like disappointed. That's just normal. But like, I know that I'll be okay. And I also genuinely can say, like, through so many disappointments and so many unexpected seasons in my life, like, I genuinely know, even if it hurts and even if it's disappointing, I fully believe, like, full-heartedly, that if I don't get it, like, it's because God has something better. And my definition of better, like, isn't always the same as his, but like, if I truly like want to glorify him, then I'm like, if I truly like, he knows way more than I do. But like, I think having goals within that, as long as you're like open to them changing, it's like so important.
Right. Like, what do you think?
I'm like. So anyway, that's exactly what I think. I feel like every question I'm like,
I'm so happy. I'm so happy you always like throw it back on me.
No, I want to hear it. Ben actually invited me to this podcast and was like, if you don't ask me the questions back, I'm gonna.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay.
Your bonus is like X'd if you don't.
I can't be the second co-host for the next episode.
Yeah.
Duncan's job is writing on this. You guys can't see Duncan, but he just has a sign that says, ask it back.
Oh, it's funny. How far ahead do you dream and vision?
I am very
plan?
like future oriented. And so that's just not something I struggle with. Like, I'll always be daydreaming and stuff. That's not a good quality. I guess it's partially good and partially bad. But like for goals, like usually I will be like, okay, this is what I want to have accomplished by the end of the summer. So will you give me like a week by week like list of what I need to accomplish? But like there are definitely like those goals would be because of like things that I know I want to accomplish in a few years. Like,
okay.
Like if I want, this is just the road we're on. Like if I did want to audition for SNL one day, I know that I'm going to have 5 to 10 minutes of like solid character work. And like, that's not going to happen if I'm not building good characters now. Like I'm not just going to like get the call and be like, perfect, I have 10 original things ready to go. Yeah. You know, like I've already been building characters that hopefully I would be able to contribute to that. But like, it's stuff like that that's like, okay, if by the end of the summer I want to have developed like X amount of new characters and new material, or like gotten a new manager, like things like that I'm working on, then like I'll try to set it out in smaller blocks. Mm-hmm. I'm like very like quarter focused. Okay. I don't know why. It just like helps me.
Do you have a corporate background?
No. I'll literally be like, guys, we're in quarter 2. All my like artist friends are like, huh?
You're like, what's a quarter?
I'm literally like so obsessed with it. I'm like obsessed with semesters too. Like I'll be like, the semester's wrapping up, I'm not in school. But it just helps me. I'm like obsessed. Stay organized, I guess.
When you say quarter, I just think of basketball.
I think of the Aldi carts.
Quarter.
Yeah.
Comeback time, baby.
No, that's literally me. If by like the fourth quarter, I'm like, I have to like have an advantage by the fourth quarter, or else I just feel like the whole game was like kind of a wash.
I feel like I'm always coming back in the fourth quarter in my years.
You're going into overtime.
I'm going into overtime every year. I'm like, December 31st. All right, let's do it. We got this. Buzzer beater, overtime. And then at the end of January, I'm like, dub.
You're like, yes.
We made it to the Final Four, baby.
But if you get the dub, like,
we got the dub.
That's all that matters, right?
No, that's right. I saw a graphic going back to like.
Right?
That's right. I saw a graphic going back to what you expect of yourself. 100%. That's right. 100%. And when you don't hit that, you see like failure. So it's like 70%, 90%, 30%, 20%. Looking at like a chart of like a day or something, or a week, and then below it, it was like dub, check mark. You showed up. And that really spoke to me because I'm
so good.
Yeah, I'm like really hard on myself, like we were saying earlier. So just having that perspective kind of like hit me again. I was like, oh, okay, yeah.
Wait, I love that because I've been like, probably my algorithm is feeding me this stuff because I've been watching so much of it. Mm-hmm. But I've been seeing so many
created to create content.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just a bunch of created to create content and Duncan the director. But I've been seeing so much about like how you literally like have to fail to succeed. Like so many things about that. And it really is such a good reminder, like, if you succeed 100 times, you probably failed 10,000.
Yeah.
Genuinely. I don't know. But, like, for me,
Math.
it's probably 10,000. Maybe more. But, like, just, like, the bravery to fail, like, I've really been trying to see that as, like, if something doesn't work out, it wasn't a failure. Like, I've really been trying to, like, reshape my way of thinking, because, like, they say in acting, like, you're realistically going to book, like, one of every 50 auditions you do. And so if I see that as 49 failures, I'm going to burn out so fast. But, like, if I see it as, like, 50 opportunities to, like, do what I love to do and, like, learn something from each audition, or at least, like, exercise discipline or, like, whatever, like, it's such a win. Like, I don't know. So I've been trying to reshape the way I think about even that kind of stuff.
Yeah. It's so good to have that mentality. Like you said, it just kind of gives joy back into whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
You know, you reshape the way that you're thinking about it. You reshape who you're doing it for, and then all the way that you're thinking about it, playground of opportunity.
Yes. You just made me think of this as my favorite thing, sorry. Every time I move the camera, I'm sorry. But you just made me think of this. There's this author that I love. Her name's Elizabeth Elliot. And she has this, like, I don't even know what book it's from, but
She write Into the Sphere.
yes.
Okay,
that's
okay,
her,
yeah.
her husband.
My mom loves Elizabeth Elliot. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, me and your mom will get along. But she has this, like, quote I read in one of her books, and she talks about this passage in Acts, I don't know what chapter, where the Lord, like, guides them all to get on this ship, and there's a storm, and the Lord sends an angel to Paul, and the angel is basically like, the Lord sends an angel. It's so easy for everyone involved to be like, if you're going to get us there, then why are you going to let the ship crash? Like, just take us there. But God had such a purpose in all of that. And, like, ultimately, like, they learned to depend on him more, and they learned, like, more of his character and so many other things we could go get into. But she then says, like, get into. Disappointing if I'm like, once I get this job, I'll be happy, or like, once I get married, I'll be happy, or whatever it is. Because it's not true. Like, then I'm just gonna want. I mean, of course, get married, bring happiness, but like.
Yeah, temporary.
Yeah, not like ultimate perfect satisfaction. And so it's like.
And there's a difference between happiness and joy as well.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, fulfillment.
And, like, if I can, like, genuinely live in this sense of, like, no matter what, like, I truly know I'm not going to arrive until I'm, like, in heaven. Like, this is all just a journey, a very important, significant journey. But, like, I feel like that's such a good reshape, because then every single failure is not, like, world ending. It's just, like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, what can we learn from this?
It's like a small reset.
Yeah, totally.
Like, even with my running journey, I have this, like, big journey, and I'm, like, so close to being finished, and I feel like I'm learning a lot about that right now, because any other time I would, like, have any sort of adversity, I would just kind of quit. Yeah. And the reason I put myself through this pain is because I wanted to teach myself not to quit. And so now I just kind of see those blips that happen. I'm like, okay, cool. Let me reset a little bit and switch the end goal if I need to, or switch their parameters, and then just make sure that I'm, like, accomplishing what I set out to accomplish still.
Yeah.
And, like, keep going. Take 2 days off. Okay, cool. Take 2 days off. Finish it.
Yeah, it's such a perspective thing. That's so important. Like, that's what we talked about at the beginning, just, like, having everything in the right place. Then you can kind of, like, roll with the punches. I don't know.
Right.
So good.
Definitely. It's so cool. Well, I have one final question for you.
Okay.
We're going to wrap it.
So soon? I waited for so long. Okay. No, I'm just kidding.
Duncan's getting tired. That's
Okay. He had so much chocolate milk.
Duncan's getting tired.
He's ready.
That's everybody that comes on. But when it comes to creativity, creating, what does it mean for you to be creative?
Whoa, that's a good question. Oh, what does it mean to be creative? Okay, sorry. I just had such a funny thought. That has nothing to do with being creative. I'm not gonna. No, it's not. I was just.
We've been sharing funny thoughts all night.
Do you know that like clip of the brother from Lizzie McGuire where he's like, I haven't really cracked up in a while. Have you seen that clip? Okay, I'll show you after. Anyway. Oh yeah, sorry. I'm sorry I even brought that up. Honestly, were you allowed to watch SpongeBob?
Okay,
I'm sorry, that was just a.
No,
okay.
I wasn't.
That I was expecting. Duncan probably wasn't either. Yeah. Okay. Expecting. Duncan probably wasn't either. Yeah. Okay.
We got Wii when I was maybe like 16, 17.
Oh my gosh. I feel like Wii was out by then.
We had like.
Well, I love the Wii. I
like,
still have one. I'm not shading
Wii's
the Wii.
are amazing,
like,
yeah. Mario Kart Wii, goated. Rainbow Road, Coconut Mall.
Coconut Mall's the best.
Anyway. So, yeah, you're super sheltered. You get the vibes.
Yes. Okay. Sorry,
So, no,
that was my ADHD
I was not allowed
tangent.
to watch SpongeBob.
I feel like you know the people who weren't allowed to watch SpongeBob. Like, you know what I mean? Not
Right.
like a personality thing, but like if I've heard a couple fun facts about your upbringing, then I'm like, you
Yeah.
weren't allowed to watch
Yeah.
SpongeBob.
What gave it away?
Well, you told me that you were homeschooled, and I'm like, that's a pretty good telltale sign.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like we weren't allowed to watch SpongeBob at first, and then my parents eventually were just like, okay.
Harry Potter?
I don't know, because I didn't get into Harry Potter till I was in college, and I don't know if that was like intentional for my parents or if it just I never like did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're the oldest too. You're the oldest,
So they were the strictest with me for
Yeah.
sure. Like my mom was like reading the reviews before I would watch a movie, and now my younger brother who's 11, he literally will like be watching like Happy Death Day by himself, and I'm like, okay, we really loosened up.
the tides have turned.
No, the tides
One
have
of my
turned.
favorite videos that you posted was the one about your brother and the Pop-Tarts. That spoke to me on a deep level.
Yeah, we bonded over that. We bonded over that.
The organic Pop-Tarts from, I don't know where, I forget where my mom got them.
Yeah, that was a video that like genuinely we thought was funny. It made us laugh, and so I like posted it, truly being like, me and then the people who like know my brother are gonna
Yeah.
think this is funny.
Right.
And then it kind of just like went viral, and we were like, that Pop-Tart,
like,
the
"Oh, wow,
organic
there's a lot of
Pop-Tart
people
people
out
sent me
there."
like a huge box. Like they sent me so many gifts.
That's
and I was like,
hilarious.
this is so funny. And I still get like hate comments. Like people will be like, sorry, you're rich, and like my family couldn't afford organic Pop-Tarts. And I'm literally like, huh? Or like so many people will be like, is this
You know
girl
what's funny,
stupid?
though?
Like how could she think Blueberry was the OG? And I'm like, why is everyone mad at me? Like this is a video about Pop-Tarts.
I think I was that person.
Ben's just
Brown
like commenting
sugar,
like,
of course.
okay, apparently everyone was like brown sugar and strawberry
Goated.
was the go-to.
Strawberry gives you cancer, though. It all gives you cancer.
Yeah, brown sugar's super good for you. No, that video was like brought so much.
Oh,
Super good for you.
Oh, yeah.
Such a good comment on it, but I think it's very.
It's hilarious.
Got like a few million views.
It's amazing. Let's go.
I know. My brothers have a lot
All
of virality.
press is good press.
Like the two brothers I've posted have both gone viral, and I'm like, should I test this with another brother?
You should.
Okay. Who's next? They're probably not gonna watch this. I'll send it to them and they'll watch like 2 minutes and be like, "Good job, Alli." Okay. What do I think it means to be creative?
Yes. Wow, you remembered. I was going to repeat the question, but great job.
Thank you. I don't know, because I feel like what I want to say, I'm just going to say it and it's going to be like, yeah, no, duh, that's what it means to be creative.
So?
Genuinely, like, I think what it means to be creative is to, like, make something that doesn't exist yet. Like, duh, that's what it means to be creative. But, like, I do a lot of, like, writing and a lot of, like, performing and a lot of auditioning. And, like, there are so many auditions that I've done that have, like, not been creative. And, like, they've been, like, definitely just, like, me checking the box and, like,
Yeah.
doing what is second nature to do. And there have been so many scripts that I've written that, like, haven't inherently been creative either. Like, I've, again, just been, like, checking the box. And I think
Yeah.
that's something we really run a risk of when your career is, like, also your creative outlet. And that's why, like, every brilliant artist has said, like, you need to have a creative outlet, especially if this is your job. And I think like, so to go back to my super deep answer of making something that doesn't exist yet, which like if you guys want to put that on a t-shirt, you can.
We'll make some money off.
Okay. But I like genuinely do think it's like, I don't even know if I have the verbiage. Clearly I don't. But like, it's like there is so many things that you can, like creative endeavors you can do that you're not actually using creativity. And then there are so many things that I feel like I use creativity in like day-to-day life that wouldn't necessarily even be like creative efforts.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense. I would
Makes total
love
sense.
to hear your answer to this. Because I'm like,
I just love how
I'm
you-
going to adopt it.
I just love how you said you didn't have a deep answer, and then you totally gave me a completely deep answer.
Wait, good.
You're like, I love how most artists like say that you should do this and you should have a creative outlet. And I'm like, you've thought about this before?
Well, like, I always do think about like Van Gogh. I'm obsessed with Van Gogh. We don't have to get into it right now. I know you're trying to wrap this up, but like he has so many. I like read this book that was like every painting Van Gogh ever created. We don't have to get into it. And he has so many self-portraits, and like I walked this exhibit where they got like most of his Cypress exhibits like all together. And I can't say this because it's not like he's not around and he died pretty young, and like he didn't have like this like extensive commentary on each of his pieces of work, but he does have like pieces that like during his time trying to like make a living as an artist that he would like create replications, and of course that's still art. It's insane. Like, and it's worth millions of dollars now, and like but there were even like journal entries that he would just talk about like work and like his work and his efforts, and it's Van Gogh. And then he has these paintings that he painted like when he was in an asylum, and like it was his only sense of like sanity, and like his and he was so sick, and like, you know, and it's so beautiful to like look at those. I have one literally just like not a real Van Gogh, obviously.
You're like, I have a Van Gogh.
That would solve a lot of my issues if I owned a Van Gogh.
You're like, just sell that.
I have a print.
Sell that and retire.
Literally, that's my retirement fund. I have a print of one of his paintings that like it literally like moved me to tears every time I look at it, and like it's in my room, so that's not good. But like he has like certain like pieces of art that aren't even famous and that he really just made for himself, and they're like some of the most beautiful things I've ever seen in my entire life.
More
and
beautiful than stuff that he famously made?
I don't know, like I know
Or
that
just
would be so subjective, but like yeah, like there, and then some of his most famous ones of course like were so like meaningful too, but like I think about his painting that's called Landscape Under Turbulent Skies, and it's like you should just look it up and stare at it for so long until your life like changes. But like or maybe it's just me, but I was reading like a little excerpt that he wrote about when he was writing it, and he just said like, I'm gonna mess up the quote so deeply, I'm not even gonna try, but the essential piece was like he wasn't able to communicate the way he was feeling with the people that he was around, and that's his only means to do it. And that's like not a famous painting. Like you can like hardly even find a bunch of them on Google, and I'm pretty sure it's like privately owned now. Like it's not his most well known, it's not his Starry Night, like and I just think about like creativity in that way of like almost like I would rather make something just that beautiful and that meaningful to me that like makes one person feel that inspired than like something that I'm just like doing robotically. I don't know. That's a very long-winded answer. I'm sorry. Feel free to crop that. But I do want to hear your answer. I don't know. That's a feel free to crop that.
I was just trying to like find the painting that you were talking about.
Landscape Under Turbulent Skies.
Yeah,
but
my iPad just died.
Oh no. I'll show you later.
Creativity. My answer. I think it changes a little bit every time, not like at the core, but just how I deliver it. But yeah, I'd say like we're all created to create. That's why I started the podcast. And I think it's a unique ability to take things that are already in existence and make something new, like you were saying. Because obviously we can't make anything, or we can't make things out of nothing.
Yeah.
Only God can do that. And so I think it's just the ingenuity and the ability to create something new, fresh, unique, or even just a unique perspective on something that we haven't really seen before. And then artistry kind of coming alongside that is giving a voice to it, and
that's good.
like basically taking your creativity and identifying your voice, and then identifying like why you did something, what it means, how other people could like things other people could get out of it, and just giving like more of a voice to the work.
Yeah, that's so good.
Thank you.
Dang, I like that. I'm gonna write
can
that
steal
down
it.
later.
It's definitely not like an original thought.
Oh no,
I think
it's really
just,
good.
I don't know. My goal is to continue to find my voice too, and I think it's really important that we all do. And you know, it doesn't have to be some grand thing that so many people see. I think the other part of creativity is just the ingenuity that God gives us to be able to create and cultivate relationships. And I think those are the most important things. Like I said earlier, everything revolves around relationships. And so understanding that and realizing that you could go and you could paint the most beautiful paintings like Van Gogh did, like Rembrandt, Picasso. But if you're like letting your friendships fail and letting your family down and not genuinely caring about people around you, and then from a faith standpoint, not building your brothers and sisters up and not cultivating and growing disciples, then what are you doing?
Yeah.
You know? Because at the core, like, that's the most important thing.
Amen.
That's what like our brains were meant to be. And I think the arts and the talents that we have are a way that we get to exercise our brain to heal and to be able to like process the world better. Heal and to
Dang, that's good. That's good. You should start a podcast about that.
Oh yeah. Maybe I will.
Just think about it. I'll brainstorm. Something maybe it gotta include Damascus. No, I don't know. It's a joke. No, it doesn't. It's just the first thing that popped in my head.
It's funny.
Yes.
Don't make sense or funny.
Thank you. You're absolutely right.
But gotta have a little chaos.
No, that's good though. That was very good. Absolutely right.
But Alli Wulfert, thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here.